I really just wanted to talk about, you know, a country that I have talked about in the past, and I've said that I envy a lot. I envy this country a lot. Now, don't get me wrong, I absolutely love the United States of America, but we have serious problems. And, it's very obvious. It's a very big talking point these days. It's immigration. That's our biggest problem. When it comes to Japan, really they have the correct formula going for them, really. And the thing is, it's just so odd because imagine telling a guy in America in 1945 that Americans would be wanting an immigration policy, similar to that of Japan. That we would actually be looking up to Japan in some way. But that's just the way it is. Honestly, in full disclosure, Japan really has had a better outcome from losing the Second World War than America and the West has winning the Second World War. And that's pretty sad to say, honestly, but it is what it is. And a lot of it has to do with obviously the immigration policies that these Western countries implement, as opposed to, the Japanese ones. Now, obviously, in the West, they just freaking let anybody in all the damn time. They fall for sob stories. Hey, I'm in this tough predicament. It's so sad. Look at me cry with my little child. Okay, let us in. And what do? We go ahead and we let them in. We bring those problems from those countries into our countries because they're coming in mass numbers and basically replacing the native demographic of Americans that have created the Western culture here. And then those problems in, say, for example, Latin America become our fucking problem because we've let them in. Now, Japan, on the other hand, they're freaking based. All right. They don't put up with shit when it comes to immigration. When they let anybody in, and they don't let in a lot of people, when they do let in people, it's very strategic. They have a purpose in letting those people in. And it's very funny to me because, they have such a strict immigration policy, and I'll get into it more in detail. I actually have a lot of information here pulled up, but it's just so funny to me because a lot of the justification, when they say that America needs to bring in millions and millions of more migrants every single year because of our terrible racist past, that's usually why they say we need to bring in so many people, because we need to somehow pay for our wrongdoings. Japan had so many wrongdoings. Did we forget that they just had an imperialist army that wanted to freaking take over most of the world, if not all of the world, alongside Nazi Germany? Like, I feel like everybody just forgot about that completely. They just forgot about, the rape of Nanjing. Like, that never happened. They forgot about the fact that, people were freaking out there committing seppuku and shit, into, was it either last century or the century before that? Like, not too long ago. So they just all forget about that. Japan goes out, creates Nintendo, creates Atari, emulates the West, and creates a automotive industry that is well known around the world now. And then everybody forgets about all that shit that they did, and nobody gets on their ass or anything, and nobody really should, because that's what that's not what they're about, obviously, anymore. They've moved past that. But these lucky buggers, man, they get to do whatever the fuck they want when it comes to the immigration policy, and nobody gives them shit for it. Now, let's go into detail of what exactly they're doing. I want to talk about just the amount of immigrants they have in total. Okay, so it says here, I'm looking at Wikipedia, with an estimated population of 127.11 million in 2015. That's Japan. The resident foreign population in Japan amounts to approximately only 1.75% of the total population. 1.75%. That's ridiculous. Of 127.11 million people, only 1.75%. And it just pains me to think of our own country that is going to be, I think, about 20% in the next couple of decades or so. 20% of our population is going to be foreign born. How do you maintain a culture, a Western culture, a identity, an American identity, when most of your population is not fucking from the country? You can't. And this is what Japan does brilliantly. They say, you know, fuck that shit. We're not going to be letting everybody in here because we have a damn culture here in Japan. This is the way we like it. It's our damn country. Fuck you. If you have a problem with it, don't come into our country then. If you have a problem with playing by our rules in our country. And Japan gets to do that, and nobody fucking says anything about it. And I'm not saying that anybody should, because that's their right to do that as a sovereign country, to say this is our rules, fucking abide by them. You know, the Japanese people live this way because it's our fucking culture. If you have a problem with it, fuck off. That's Japan. And, you know, they get away with it. So they're absolutely based. I also want to talk about their whole refugee intake, because they don't fucking take in shit barely. And over here, like I said, we hear a sob story of some poor hijabi girl with a damn child in her arm, and there's a tear coming down her eye, and all of a sudden, let's fucking open up all of our goddamn borders for everybody to come in from the Middle East and shit. It's evil to say that we don't want people from the fucking sand desert in the Middle East, where women are covered in fucking burqas all the damn time. And if you, as an American citizen, tell the woman from the Middle East who's been here, I don't know, 2 or 3 years, and she only has her eyeball showing, if you don't say that she's 100% American just as you are, you're an evil bigot. You know, Japan, they say, fuck that, all right? What does it say here? Okay. In 2016, more than 10,000 applications for refugee status in Japan were received, and in the same year, only 28 asylum applications were approved. 28. That's it. I have a small size classroom at my university that has more people in it than the amount of people that they let in one damn year in 2016. In 2015, more than 7,500 people applied for refugee status, and 27 asylum applications were approved. 2014, 5,000 applications, and only 11 applications were approved. Nobody has a problem with that. Absolutely nobody is saying shit. Nobody's out protesting in the streets saying Japan's an evil, bigoted country for not letting in all these damn asylum seekers, quote unquote, or refugees. Nobody gives a damn because it's not in the West. Only in white Western countries are people forced to let in millions of people that have nothing to do with that want nothing to do with their culture at all, that are there simply to get what they can get and take advantage of those countries and give nothing back. Only in the white Western countries, purely. Even though there are far many different countries, such as Japan, who do far worse things. You know, I don't think it's a bad thing to not let in millions of people into your country every single year, but they do far worse things and nobody says shit about it. Just saying. Let's talk about, okay, ethnicity and nationality. Now, a lot of people say that ethno-states are such a terrible, evil, racist thing to have. Have you ever noticed that it's only evil to have an ethno-state when the state is not white? Oh, wait, I think I said that wrong. It is only evil to have an ethno-state if the state is white. That is the only way that it's evil. You look at Africa, all those damn countries, for the most part, ethno-states. You look at all these countries in Asia, all these countries are ethno-states. You look to the Middle East, a lot of these countries are ethno-states. Latin America, ethno-states. Everywhere, there are a lot of ethno-states. You tell a Mexican that, say I would move to Mexico right now. Would you think the Mexican people would accept me as 100% Mexican as they are? Hell no. They'll be like, no, you're not Mexican. We are not going to treat you as an equal Mexican because you're not a Mexican. But when it's here in the West, in the United States of America, when it's in Canada, when it's in Britain, when it's in Sweden, when it's in France, when it's anywhere in the West, then we have to pretend that people who are not Westerners are 100% just as Western as we are. You're just as British as we are, even though you care nothing about the British culture. You are just as French as we are, even though you care nothing about the French culture. You are just as American as we are, just even though you don't give a damn about the history or the heritage or the culture of this country. In Japan, let's read about here. Sorry, I kind of went off topic there. I went to Europe to make my examples. But here, ethnicity and nationality. The concept of, okay, I hope I don't butcher this here. The concept of Minzoku, meaning ethnic group, as represented in Japanese, makes no distinction between racial, ethnic, and national identities. Where the census of the United Kingdom, for example, separates ethnic or racial background from nationality. The Japanese Census and Statistics Bureau do not distinguish between the two. They have an ethno-state. If you're Japanese through your blood, that makes you Japanese. You know, that would be seen as an evil thing to say if you're in the United Kingdom, for example, here. You know, if you were to say that, oh, if you're British, if you're Anglo-Saxon in the United Kingdom, that makes you British, and that only really, there's no distinction, you would be called a racist, Nazi, bigot, everything, all of that bull crap. But the Japanese out here make no distinction. Racial, ethnic, and national identity. That's all the same shit. If your blood is Japanese, you're Japanese. That's what makes you Japanese. It's not evil there. Why is there a double standard here in the West? Because you guys have been lied to by the grabbler globalists who have fed you this lie for generations now and telling you that having an ethno-state in the countries that your forefathers built is an evil thing. It's not an evil thing. Nowhere else around the world is it an evil thing. Because it's not an evil thing. You have been lied to all this time. America, for example, was built by white Western European culture. With white Western European culture at the forefront of the country, America was birthed. It wasn't a bunch of Africans at the helm that created America. It wasn't a bunch of Middle Easterners at the helm of America that created this country. It was none of those. None of those. And to say that we need to replace the culture that created this country, that was fundamental to creating this country, to say that we need to do that in order to become better as a society, to improve ourselves as a society, is an absolute lie. Imagine telling the Japanese people that in order to make their society better, they needed to replace the majority Japanese population there. That you need to let in a bunch of Middle Easterners. You need to let in a bunch of white people. You need to let in a bunch of black people from Africa. That's the way that you become a good society, Japan. If you replace your native population, that's what you need to do to become better. That's bullshit. They wouldn't take that. They absolutely would not take that. But here in the West, we are forced to. We are forced to because we have been lied to. We have been controlled mentally. We've been told all this time that preserving our culture here in the West, the Western European formed culture, we've been told that's evil and that we need to diversify and replace that culture with cultures from countries that haven't amounted up to shit compared to the Western culture. Don't tell me that the cultures of all these third world nations are equal to the culture of the Western world. Think of all the things that you have in front of you. You drive your car. Who made that reality? The West. You watch your television. Who made that a reality? The West. Your cell phone. Who made that a reality? The telephone. Who made that a reality? The West. Airplanes. You know, you fly across the country, around the world. Who made that a reality? The West. It was not these third world countries that did all that stuff. So to say that the countries, say South or Latin America, when they're coming up here in Central America, coming up here, their culture is equal to the culture of Europe or the culture that was here in North America, in Canada or United States throughout, the 1800s, 1700s, even the 1900s, all that time. It's not equal. Right? How many people do you see coming in from Central America, taking over an area and making it such a brilliant place? How many middle-class communities have you seen that have been diversified? Have you seen that they have gotten exponentially better as a result of their diversification? Tell me again how diversity is such a great thing. Because you have, a couple more taco stands in your city? Oh, big whoop. You can go up to we have the internet these days. Go out and learn a damn recipe on your own. You make it yourself. That's all. You really, honestly, you sold your society, you sold your culture away for a bunch of ethnic food. That's basically all you did. Diversity is not our strength. That's bullshit. Name one instance where us being more different, having less things in common, has brought us together instead of, having us separate. No. Throughout all of history, the biggest conflicts have been because we are different. Bluebirds want to fly with bluebirds. Forcing bluebirds to fly with crows and to also fly with a seagull doesn't work. Forcing them together. That's what you're doing when you're forcing diversity down our damn throats without a choice. Now, I'm not going to say that, somebody who is black and somebody who's white or somebody who's Asian can't get along. Obviously, they can, because I have friends that are of different ethnic groups. But every single time I do have a friend that is of a different ethnic group, they have been assimilated into the Western culture. And I don't understand why so many people think that can continue to be a thing. Assimilation can continue to be a thing when we are bringing in millions of people in mass every single year. Assimilation only really works if it's a small amount of people that you're letting in. Because when you let in millions of people into an area, assimilation is not going to happen. They're just going to overtake the area and turn it into the area that they fucking left. That's what happens. We don't have this special stuff, in the Looney Tunes, that little Michael Jordan's secret stuff that somehow makes us impenetrable to being overrun by different cultures just because, we're here in America, people are going to assimilate to us, even though that 20% of our population is foreign born. We don't have that secret stuff. We don't have this little magical potion that's going to keep us from becoming a third world nation like in Latin America. Yeah, we don't have this magic recipe that's going to save us from becoming these nations where these third world people are coming from. Just because you have something good now doesn't mean it's always going to be that way. And I can guarantee you the quickest way to make sure that the good things are not going to be kept is by importing a bunch of third world migrants who don't give a damn about this damn country. I'll give you a few. Every now and then you got a few people from these countries that are good, that, put their foreign culture aside, but it's very rare. Very rare. When they come in numbers, they don't want to be American. They're only here to take what they can get, be American when it's convenient for them to be American. But the rest of the time, nah. They're Mexican. They're Peruvian. They're Guatemalan. They're Chilean. They're Iranian, they're Chinese. It doesn't matter to them until it's time for them to gain something. Then they're 100% American. Yeah. All of a sudden, then it matters that they're American. But the rest of the time, for the most part, Wait, you ever go up to people here in California, the first thing, probably if you ask them, what are you? A lot of people say, oh, I'm Mexican. Yeah, viva la raza, I'm Mexican. I mean, you always see those IG thoughts, Mexicana, Latina on their Instagram bio. That's what they care about. They're not assimilating. They're only American when they want to be, when it's convenient for them, and when they can benefit from being American. That's it. And I understand what you guys are going to say. You guys are going to say, what about you? You're not white or anything. I'm an anomaly. Honestly, I'm an anomaly. I'm one of the few people of color who don't give a damn about the country that my family left long ago. I don't care about that because obviously that country was shit. That's why they left. And that's why they came to America, because it was shit and they left. Why should I have pride in a foreign culture, a foreign country that wasn't even good enough to supply a decent life for my family to the point where they actually had to come over here? Doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense at all. That's what pisses me off, that people are so blinded by this lie that the only moral thing to do is to let everybody in, no exceptions, because that's what good-hearted Christian people do. They always put that on Christians. Hey, aren't you a Christian? You're supposed to help everybody, even though it destroys the country that you're living in, destroys your neighborhood that you're living in, and replaces it with a foreign culture that is garbage compared to the one that you had before. It's a lie. It's a grabbler, globalist lie. Man, I went off track, didn't I? Japan knows it. Every other country outside the West knows it. It's not evil to protect your culture. It's not evil to say, no, I don't want to let you into my country, because if I do let you into my country in droves like the West is doing, our culture is going to be overrun. It's going to be done away with. And the native people here that have built this country up from nothing are going to be put in the back burner. They know better all across the world, but we don't in the West. We keep falling for the same exact lies over and over and over again. Let everybody in. That's what we do. We're good people here. As long as it's legal. Yeah, I'm coming at you, neocons. As long as it's legal, it's fine if we become demographically replaced. We become culturally replaced. That's all good with me because it's legal. At least it was done legally. Yeah. That's what I got to say about that. Obviously, it's a topic that weighs heavy on my mind a lot, and I have a lot of passion for it because nobody freaking says it, because a lot of people are, one, either too blind to actually see the truth and they wouldn't even think of saying something like this, or two, they realize what's going on and they don't say anything about it because they're scared. I don't give a damn. So that's what I got to say about that. Thank you guys for watching. I'll probably make more serious topic videos like this one in the near future. But yeah, thank you guys again for watching.